Hello everyone, this is a quick little video I wanted to make on Paladins in Baldur's Gate 3 and how they are being taken over basically by other classes which do what they want to do and follow the same archetype, just better I guess. Um, you will see what I'm talking about soon. One thing that you need to know is that most of the YouTube guys you're watching are not really good because they don't take this into consideration. The damage of the Divine Smite is capped to 5d8 when you cast it at level 4, so any spell slot that you use above level 4 on the Smite is just useless, and it could basically be used for anything else that deals more damage. Paladins are not good at dealing damage in the late game, sadly, and I will show you why and who can do it better. All the following simulations will be done with level 12 characters, and they will be using a normal greatsword, which deals 2d6 of damage, plus your strength modifier strength or charisma. It depends on the class and multi-class, but well, just keep in mind that they're all level 12 and the setting that where they are competing is just the same. They're in the same circumstances. Well, first of all, we will be comparing the pure paladin. Um, yeah, not much to say here apart from it's not going to be the best because it doesn't have level 4 spell slots, so it cannot deal as much damage as the class actually allows. So that is why people usually go into multi-class, and like this they unlock more spell slots, so they can use it on smites. As I said, these spell slots of level 5 and 6 are not really useful. I mean, sure, you can use them, but they basically turn into level 4 spell slots, which makes it suboptimal, and it's just not min-maxed as much as it could be. The level progression and the spell slot progression also changes a lot on the last two levels because normally you go like 2 levels in Paladin and 10 levels in something else. It's a little bit weird to calculate, and I know that there's a lot of discussion over it, but yeah, just it doesn't really matter because you don't even like get more damage from casting higher level spells when over 4. I tried all the multi-classes that are famous. I tried Bladesinger, I tried the Warlock, and the Bladesinger just doesn't deal a lot of damage, like not enough, or not as much as the other multi-classes. The Warlock is, like, I'm sorry, but it's stupid. like, you have 2 temporary spell slots, packed boons or the packed spell slots, I don't even know what they're called, and you basically burn them on your first action of combat, not on your first turn or your first like round, on your first action of combat, and then you're basically a guy with a sword whose devil overlord didn't give enough food to fight for that day. You don't have enough spell slots for the fights, so yeah, not good. I see a lot of videos that recommend Sorgadin. I really, really, really don't understand why. I think it's crazy, like, yeah, sure, you get utility and whatever, but please, we are the paladins right now, like, we don't need utility. We have a designated healer or support or, control mage, sorcerer, wizard, whatever that is casting stuff for us. The paladin or this, like, knight protagonist character is not designated to have utility. Sure, it's good, but it's not the best for damage. The best for damage is the Bardadin, which has the flourishes when you go with a subclass of College of Swords, and they will basically have you deal more damage with your attacks. So that is the one that we will be comparing. It is the more min-maxed version. If you choose any other multiclass, you will be dealing less damage, at least with your attacks. Maybe if you cast spells, you will be doing something else, but that is not really what we're going for here. We're trying to be a guy with a sword. The other two classes we're going to be comparing are the fighters. the Battle Master and the Eldritch Knight. The Battle Master has, well, both of them have the improved extra attack, which lets you attack 3 times per action. That is really, really good, and it gives you very good consistent damage. And both of them get 4 feats, which give you also some flexibility. The Eldritch Knight Fighter has spell casting, but it's a 1/3 caster, and it doesn't even use the spells for damage. The only thing it will be using from the magic realm, I guess, for damage is your cantrip, Booming Blade. Um, and the Battlemaster Fighter gets the maneuvers, which at level 12 maxed out are 1d10 damage that you add on your attacks, and you can do that 5 times. I included this one as some kind of meme actually, and you will be shocked at the results. I was definitely shocked at the results. But yeah, so let's look at the graphs that I did, and I used AI to help me calculate all of this. I had to rerun it, I think, like 100 times to get everything right, but in the end, it got me the same results that I got manually. So from there on out, I started like comparing every class that I needed to compare. This is the way that you should be using AI, I think. So really, really helpful. Thank you, ChatGPT. So here you can see the burst capability of the Battlemaster Fighter using the action surge and the improved extra attacks. They're just so good at bursting things on one turn. It is actually crazy. So if you ever hear anyone say, yeah, Paladins, they are the best at bursting an enemy, they use everything on one turn and then there's no more enemies left, it's not true. The Battle Master actually does that better than the Paladin, and it's not even close. Also, the Paladin runs out of fuel when they long rest, they need to long rest to regain all of their spell slots. So what ends up happening is that you break all of the immersion. The Battlemaster resets on short rests, which are these little things here, where they can do the action surge and the maneuvers again. So it's a little bit more lore friendly, I guess, or like roleplay friendly. And it, if you only care about DPS, it even is better in DPS cumulatively. You will see that at the end of the graphs. But yeah, just it doesn't even compare. The Battlemaster is so much better than the Paladin in terms of damage at level 12, and this just scales up, and it is just like this for the entire game. At the beginning of the game, it also looks similar to this. I tried it level 4, and it was something around this, and it went down, and it went down, while the Paladin just ran out of fuel way faster because it doesn't have enough spell slots. So yeah, also in the long run, the fighter has more consistent damage because it has 3 attacks and the Paladin only has 2. Um, yeah, you would think that when the Paladin crits, it also deals much more damage because the smite is affected by the crits. It's not. The Battlemaster still deals more damage in that burst scenario, and it has more consistent damage over rounds, especially if you have like multiple fights. Because, well, you can short rest in between them and like not break immersion. It's just one button, but long resting involves the whole cutscene and everything. So yeah, one thing that is very important here is that long resting, I consider it to be very tedious and it breaks immersion. It's not supposed to work like or be abused all the time. And if you want to long rest, you all the time, and every fight you need to long rest. You need to have infinite resources, and as long as you're not using any exploits or anything, you're gonna have a really hard time having infinite resources, and it's gonna like be a problem unless you spend all of your money on buying resources like food from traders. You just cannot play a class that needs long resting every 9 rounds or 7 rounds. Now, for the same graph with the Eldritch Knight, you actually see how broken it is. It has more damage in burst, even though it's just a little bit, and this is on average. But that's not the best part even. It's just so consistent on the damage because of those like the booming blade plus the cantrip, the bonus action attack. It has so many attacks per round that it just out damages everything, and it's not even close. And on the burst round, it even deals a little bit more damage than the Battle Master. It beats the Paladin on its best round. On the on the Eldritch Knight's worst round, it deals more damage than the Paladin's best round. It's crazy. I am so emotional over this. I just don't think it should be like this, but it is, sadly. So yeah, I mean, other than go ahead and try it yourself, I cannot tell you much. It's real. The Eldritch Knight at level 12 is so much better than the Paladin, and it's not even close. And it doesn't need short rests, it doesn't need long rests, it doesn't need anything. This class outdamages everything without trying. It's crazy. Now, for the downside of this, it's that the Eldritch Knight actually has a horrible early game. So before level 4, you will be the lowest damage. Um, if you take a look at level 5, you will see that it starts to scale a little bit and it's more consistent than the Battle Master, but it's still a little bit under the Paladin, even though after like 8 rounds or so it starts out damaging it. So from level 5 onwards I would start recommending the Eldritch Knight over the Battle Master and over any Paladin or multi-class iteration that you can think of. And as you can see, by level 8, I think this would be the same at level 7, because that's where you get your Warcaster thingy to attack with your bonus action. You just get this consistent line of damage where every other class just goes down, down, down. And even here you can see the worst round for the Eldritch Knight, which is always the same because it's so consistent, is way better than the best round for the Paladin or the Bardadin or whatever. So yeah, I'm sure that if you change your build, you can min-max this a little bit, um, but you can say the same thing for the Eldritch Knight. You can probably min-max it as well. This, keep in mind, that is level 12, and you have a 2d6 weapon, two-handed greatsword, plus your strength modifier. So yeah, sure, like if you change everything here, it will look a little bit different, but it will still like be the same. The Eldritch damage will outdamage where it's outdamaging, and it will have its spikes and its lows in the same positions. So yeah, it would just be changing the numbers but not the results. Here you can see the cumulative burst damage in the same scenario at level 12, where you can see that by the third round the Eldritch Knight is already consistently going up, going up, going up, and it's not going to change its trajectory, whereas the Battlemaster Fighter just has this burst at the beginning where it almost catches up with the damage of the Eldritch Knight, but it doesn't, and then it just, well, same thing, scales, but not as strong. It's not as strong. It doesn't scale as good as the Eldritch Knight. It's more consistent. Where this just goes here, and the Paladin and Bardadin, which at some point will start going more like this, more like this, and it will just not catch up with these two, which will go further away from the damage of the Paladin because it will run out of fuel at some point. So yeah, TLDR, the Eldritch Knight is bad early game, but as soon as you get like around level 5 in the mid game, and well, the closer you get to 12, it just becomes the best in terms of damage. When you're trying to play that kind of knight uh, class or archetype or whatever, and it has no limitations. It doesn't need short rest, it doesn't need long rest, it doesn't need anything. It's just so consistent and good. And it would be like some S plus tier thingy, Z tier even. And here you have the other two, the Battlemaster Fighter in a different tier, which has good burst but needs short rests to well regain all the maneuvers and action surges and whatever. It still isn't as good as the Eldritch Knight. That's why we're looking at it in a different line. And then you have the Paladin, which needs long rests and doesn't have the best like burst if you compare it to the Battle Master, and it's just like worse than the other ones in general, at least in terms of damage. So yeah, hope this can change your perspective on paladins and the damage that they deal, and we can stop looking at paladins as damage classes, and we start, well, I don't know, doing some more varied builds where paladins are some kind of tank or support or something. I'm just tired of seeing paladins being put on every video just because everyone plays a paladin, but no one actually looked at the math and realized that paladins are like really bad at dealing damage. I don't know. It's sad. I wish that the paladin was up here and they were like dealing top damage all around and whatever, but it doesn't happen. So yeah. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon on my next video. Bye.